Hey again, everybody, and I wanted to go ahead and do an update. I've been a little bit busy tonight, and I didn't have a chance to really record anything before now, so I did want to show you guys what I've done. As you can see here, I've actually gotten some green stuff, some actual genuine green stuff. I usually have P3, but they were out, and I got this, lighting is not very good, this Army Painter green stuff here. Works out really, really well. And as you can see, I continued that main tree trunk up, and I wrapped it around the barrel of the cannon. So I don't know how well you can see that there, but it's wrapped around, and went ahead and put a couple of little bits from the Dryad set on there. I'd used a little bit of the P3 I had left for the main part of it, so I've got most of that done. I do have a few, like this rocket launcher here, that's just there for support. It's to keep it there while it's drying, or while it's curing. And I actually do have magnets inside of that, so when it's done and it's completely set, I'm going to break it apart, and then it'll be on there so that I can actually take it off and put it on whenever I need it for battle damage. To kind of give you an idea of what I've done here with the green stuff, really pretty simple. Rolled out some very thin snake-like lengths of it. After kneading it together, I had some here where I branched it off so it looks like there's, like it's an actual vine with more little vines coming off of it instead of just one long piece. And I've gotten some places here where it's actually blended in some. Very, very, very easy to do, and when it's done and it's actually painted, it'll look like the section of a vine where it kind of roots into a tree or into whatever it's growing on. And if you ever look at one up close in nature, you can kind of see that little detail on there where it's kind of growing into the surface that it's on. This is also a good time to point out that the scratches I made on here before do help out a lot with this. It gives it something to adhere to. I did put down a little bit of super glue as well, so that it will also help it to kind of dry on there a little bit better. You can't see that too well. Here we go. And I did the other gun on here. This one's not set yet. I went ahead and just kind of stuck it all together, but I'm trying not to touch it too much because I don't want it to break off. It will break at this point until it's actually had enough time to set completely. And let's see, here's the back of the main turret again. Let's see there, I've got a little piece of the vine underneath it. And over on this side, get the vines coming out of here. Now I have not added texture onto this yet. So this is just pretty smooth, it still has fingerprints on it, and I will be adding texturing into it. I don't know how well this will show up on here since I'm kind of holding it with one camera, or with one hand. It will be a little shaky, but I do want you to see what I do. It's essentially the same thing I do with the Sculpey. I am using a metal broken drill bit right now because it's a little sharper, a little bit harder, and really I'm just giving it texture lines on here just like I did with the Sculpey. The difference is this one's got kind of like a gummy texture to it. It really is almost like chewing gum, the way that it feels when you're trying to carve into it. So I just put a little bit of texture lines on here, and I'll do some more with an actual X-Acto blade in probably about an hour or so, once it's dried out, or rather cured a little bit more, and it'll make it a little bit more stable so it's less likely to bend again completely out of whack, because I don't want it to lose the overall shape that it's got now. I do like the angling and the placement of everything on here. I just want to be able to get a little bit more texture out of it. And I know the lighting is horrible with this, and I do apologize. I'm going to try to find a tripod. I have one somewhere. I'm going to try to find one of those and see if we can kind of use it for future videos. And I'm looking up here. Used to have a little bit more on it too. And you don't want to have just really singular deep grooves. So I'm going to kind of flatten that back over just a little bit and then push it back out some. What that does is it gives it the texture of layering almost. It will make it look a lot more organic when it's done. Now this part up here is difficult to work with now since it is still set, and I'm also kind of balancing it very precariously on these little bits here. It's really just to keep the whole thing from collapsing under its own weight. It is kind of heavy, and as you can see, there's nothing underneath it directly except this bit to hold it up. But once it's set, because I have a nickel neodymium magnet set in there, it's strong enough that it should hold it together, and also let me rotate it some. Now one last thing, if I can show it to you, I don't know if I can tilt it up now, but underneath here, I did go ahead and make some vines. And those are kind of wrapping around the wheels just a little bit. And we'll look at that some more later. That's it for this one for now. Alright, so I just finished up for the day and I wanted to do a quick recap on here to just show everything on here now. I went ahead and draped a little bit of the green stuff, stretching it over here, so when it's done it'll kind of look like sort of like Spanish moss just hanging down there, hopefully. Don't know for sure how that'll turn out, but hoping it will be okay. I did go ahead and I've done a few more vines on here. I did go ahead and put the little smoke, what are they called, smoke launchers up there, just to make sure that I had them in place. I might do more green stuff around them later to give it more texture. Here's a picture of the side gun there. Top here, went ahead and took the supports off. It's holding itself up for now. And down here, I've glued that on, so it looks like the track's kind of coming off, and there's a vine sort of sticking out there. On the other side here, I've got another vine creeping out, wrapping itself around. And then here is the turret itself. And the front side here, back around there again. Now I'm going to be doing more to this. Once this is completely cured and I can detach it off, I'm going to have some things dangling down from underneath the turret mounting. And I'll probably put more texturing and things up here too. I'll do a few more little decorations on here. On the top there, I'm considering trying to magnetize that little brown spot in the middle of the mounting so that I could put in, maybe like a dead space marine or a missile launcher, or, I've got a lot of bits, might just put in a hatch cover. It just really depends on how it looks when it's ready to go out. But that is basically it. The majority of the work on this is now done. I do have one more little feature I'm planning on adding in here, and that's this. Now this is not set yet, which is why I haven't mounted it. I don't know how well you can see this on the camera, but these are actually, well, they look like tank shells to me, or artillery shells. I got them in a bits box at the local foundry hobby shop, and yeah, they looked appropriate, so I kind of put them in there with the vines, and I'm going to have it coming out of the back of the tank. At least that's the plan, and it'll sort of look like the vines have kind of wrapped around the ammunition. And that's what I've got planned for it right now. After I get done with this, I have another interesting project I'm considering. Something to do with this guy. But we will finish up on this first. And that's all I'm going to be doing on here for this tonight. But please leave me any comments, like it if you are interested in this, and follow me on YouTube, subscribe if it's something you think you might want to look at later, because I will be doing a lot more like this in the future.